Let's take a look at what happens when we allow blame into our organizations, where somebody is super excited they're maybe a new employee, they're excited, and they go ahead and they do something. They take the initiative, they do something that they think is right, they come back and their boss says, "What are you doing? Why did you do it like that? You shouldn't have done it like that, you totally screwed it up." What's going to happen to that person's behavior? They've just learned never to take the initiative again. Okay, fine. I won't do anything until my boss tells me what to do. Have you ever seen that? Our brains interpret blame the same way they interpret a physical attack. Think about that for a moment, right? Whether somebody is coming at you and blaming you for something, or they're coming at you with a knife, your brain interprets it the same way. It triggers your amygdala, which controls the fight or flight response. Well, you know an unfortunate side effect of when your amygdala takes over your brain, when your amygdala is triggered? It actually shuts down your frontal cortex. It shuts down your frontal cortex, which is the problem-solving part of the brain. So the irony of blaming people for problems is that we're actually shutting down the very part of the brain that could solve the problem that they're being blamed for. When we blame people for problems, we kill so many accountable behaviors. And you know what? I have yet to encounter any situation in which blaming somebody produces the optimal outcome. This is what blame does to people's behavior. This is what blame does to people's brains, and this is what blame does to a culture. Have you seen blame produce this type of behavior, and can you give an example?
We have a lieutenant. He's kind of a younger guy, but he's promoted up quick. But he's the kind of guy that would put his hand up for everything, to volunteer for everything, until he starts getting blamed. The old term of quiet quitting. That's kind of what happens. You know, and then you're like, no, I'll just come up and do my time and that's it. And then you don't get those volunteers that you used to have before.
When you see somebody take the accountability instead of blame, to me, that's what really gets your workplace better, right? I've seen supervisors, hey, my bad, even if it wasn't their bad and they're gonna deal with all the other crap behind the scenes, to me, that's a responsibility of a leader.
That is a fantastic example of precisely what I'm talking about. So the next time that you're tempted to blame somebody, say, "Who did this? Why did you do it that way?" Say, "Hey gang, where did the process break down here?" So the first question, who did this? You know what part of the brain you're talking to? The amygdala. And people are going to go into fight or flight mode. But the second question, where did the process break down? You're speaking to their frontal cortex. And the kind of behavior you get is like, when you ask that question, people kind of lean in like, I don't know. Where did the process break down here? And they're more willing to work with you to find a solution. And you know what? When they're in that state of mind, they're also more willing to say, yeah, you know, I think the system failed us here, the process broke down here, and you know what? I probably dropped the ball here. I could do a better job here. They're far more likely to come to that conclusion if they're not being blamed. Nobody is going to take accountability for problems if they think they're going to be blamed for doing so.